These UN systems, which were the counter to the corporate world, are now being hijacked and corporatized. So, for example, in the WHO, Mr. Gates finances something he calls Gavi, the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. So he was pushing the vaccine agenda in WHO even before COVID. He's created a whole new platform with the junk food industry and agribusiness called GAIN, the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. Among his improved nutrition is genetically engineered golden rice. We finished it off in the year 2000 in India because we showed that this is so inferior to the sources of vitamin A that we have in our rich biodiversity. And it was rejected as an option. Mr. Gates finances it in Erie, pushes it on Philippines, dismantles all the regulatory laws. There's a UN food system. And the Food and Agriculture Organization is to food what WHO is to health. Mr. Gates hijacked the Food and Agriculture Food Summit. It's always been held in Rome, where the FAO is. I remember 1995. I mean, I've been there at so many food summits, always in Rome. Last year, it was hijacked to New York, and the head of the summit was not a UN representative. It was the head of the Alliance for the Green Revolution in Africa, which Gates and Rockefeller started. So his representative became the person running. And how did this happen? Because the UN Secretary General and World Economic Forum wrote a contract. They just wrote an agreement. Yeah, that now onwards the UN system will serve big money. And it is true now that the UN system, instead of being a balancing force of power between the rich and the poor countries, a balancing force of not allowing the excesses. If we didn't have the UN, we wouldn't have had a climate treaty. If we didn't have UN, we wouldn't have had a biodiversity treaty. That was what was needed. Right now, what's happening is the billionaires and the corporations are taking every element of the UN system and making it do the opposite of what it was meant to do. Instead of one country, one vote, it's the billionaires' votes that will matter. And they're rushing through. I mean, Mr. Gates has been caught bribing representatives to pass the geoengineering and gene drives in the UN system. So literally, they're just waiting to ensure that there is nothing like a democratic, representative presence of people at the international level. They only want billionaire presence at the international level. And that's why it's not enough for us to be very, very critical of this new global order, but to create from local to global new solidarities. I mean, that, after all, it was a small group of us who were looking at globalization and created the International Forum on Globalization. We managed to stop WTO in Seattle. And just because we said we are going to not allow the corporations to rule the world, our world is not for sale. Mother Earth is not for sale. And yes, governments are being hijacked, UN systems are being hijacked, and people's freedoms are being controlled, but a lot of it with a lot of doublespeak. So if people are not discriminating, not relating to reality, people can slip into the next level of their own enslavement.